Hi, it's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today I'm going to show you how to make an easy face cream out of aloe vera from the aloe vera plant. You can buy a pre-packaged, I don't know what, aloe gel already in bottles in the store, or you can use yours from your own plant, and today we're going to be using it from the plant. So my plant has gotten a little large. If you remember a few videos ago, I talked about rescuing it from Nana's trash after Nana passed, and originally it was just the middle, whatever is down here in the middle, and it's thrown up all these shoots all over. So it's getting a little big for my pot, so I'm either going to have to repot part of it, which I'm probably going to do this spring. And I needed to use up some of these great big fronds that are on here. So I'm going to cut away and show you me cutting them off and how I get the gel out. There's no real easy way to extract the aloe gel. You just sort of have to do it as best as you can. If you watched my last video on all about the aloe vera plant, we talked about it and I showed you the process. I use a potato peeler, and I get as much green off of it as I can, and then I use a hand blender, or you can put it in the blender if you want, but it really does make a big slimy mess, so I like to use the hand mixer or the hand blender. It all mixed up, and you can also fish out any of the green bits that you didn't get off, because it's really hard to get the gel completely degreened, if that's a word. It gets so slimy and it gets so hard to work with the smaller the pieces you get to. So you got all the gel out that you need, and for this recipe we're going to need approximately a half a cup. I used about 4 of these big dudes right here, and I let it sit and it will break down as it sits, and then I just mixed it all up so it's nice and consistency throughout the whole thing, and I fished out some of the green bits. Put it in the refrigerator for a minute while I was getting ready to do all of this. See how it's starting to break down. We had those big solid chunks. You still see those, but you can start to see at the bottom. See if I can get a good way here. You can start to see it's getting more gelatinous and just breaking down. This one has been sitting here for a while, and it's really breaking down a lot. So what I'll do before I use this in any kind of preparation, I'll probably just let it sit for a few hours, trying to let it break down as much as I can before I need to use some. I have a hand blender, a little hand blender. You can probably use a hand mixer too, or you can just squish it up. But I'm just going to keep it in there, let it. It's going to break down more and more. And a good way to, if you want to really watch it, is do a big chunk vertically. So for this recipe, we're going to need a half a cup of aloe gel. We're going to need a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. You're going to need jojoba oil, and you can also use vitamin E if you don't want to use the jojoba oil, and lavender, geranium, eucalyptus will work too. Make sure you get the food grade oil, not like some kind of stuff made for, I don't know, putting in room deodorizers or something. And we're going to need beeswax. I'm going to be using the white beeswax pellets just because it makes it a nicer color than, I usually use the big bars and I shave it. But this, I reserve these nice white, 100% organic beeswax pellets for making like facial creams and stuff like that. You're going to need a double boiler. If you've never used a double boiler before, it's usually 3 parts, a lid, this middle section, and the pot. You fill the pot with water, and you put your pot in there. You want it to sort of teeter. It's going to evaporate and steam out pretty fast. Don't put it so full though when you put your stuff in here. You don't want it to overflow. So I'm going to put that on low right now so it can start boiling. Now you can see after I've extracted my gel, I'm not going to use all of this. It is slimy. It's not going to be as clunky, it's not going to be like a hand gel. It's more of like a slimy slime. And you can see that mine has green bits in it. And I used a hand blender and I blended that up. So yeah, there's little bits of green in there. If that bothers you, you can continue to blend it until it's no more, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I find it almost impossible to totally get it out of there. If you wanted to, you could squish it through like a tomato sieve. I don't know. It's for my own personal use. If I was giving it for gifts, I'd probably be more exacting, but I just want the benefits. And if there's a little bit of green here and there, if I don't like it, I'll just pick it out after in the finished product. So here's my gel. So I'm going to put my 1/4 cup of coconut oil into my pot. The purpose of a double boiler is to gently boil. It's for melting candy and chocolate, anything you don't want to scorch and you want it to be a slow cook. That's what you want your double boiler for. I'm going to put my 1 tablespoon of jojoba oil. And the reason why we need oils is aloe has both cleansing and drying properties, and the oils will balance out the more astringent properties. It's good for treating acne because it dries up, but it also sloughs off those dead skin cells and moisturizes. So by putting the vitamin E or the jojoba in there, it's just going to make a more moisturizing, cleansing sort of situation. So I got the jojoba, I got the coconut, and I'm going to put my 1 tablespoon of beeswax. Now if you find it doesn't set up later on, we can just add more beeswax. I'm putting my finished product in these little half jelly jars, half a cup. I think that's what they're at, about half a cup. So I've added the beeswax, the coconut oil, and the jojoba oil. We're not going to add the lavender or whatever oil that you've chosen until the end because that will cook off. So we want to make sure we add that very last thing. Once we get this mixed up and all melted together, we're going to cool it down for about an hour. And it's important that we do that because we don't want to mix it hot in with the aloe vera. So once it's cool, after we get it mixed, we'll let it cool for an hour, and then we'll blend it all together, and so it's really creamy throughout. And we'll mix in the aloe at that point. These beeswax pellets will melt a lot faster than shaved wax. Mixed. I'm waiting on the little wax pellets to totally melt. Now it can take your wax a while to melt, so just keep stirring it. You can let it sit for a little bit and clean up after whatever, or do another step of the couple more in there. Alright, once they're completely melted, I'm going to turn off my double boiler. I'm just going to move the whole little boiler pan. I'm just going to set it in the bowl. I'm not going to bother changing it to another. Okay, we're going to let this cool down for an hour, And then we'll come back and we will look at, we're going to add the aloe vera gel, and we're going to add the lavender, and we're going to mix it all up into the face cream and put it in our containers. So we'll see you in an hour. Okay, our oils are cool, and I'm going to get a half a cup of the aloe vera. Okay, I used the hand mixer, and then I finished up by smushing it together here. Got a little bit of the runoff there at the bottom. Trying to see if I can mix it in. Okay, before I keep working on that, I'm going to add my 5 drops of, well, you can do 5 to 10 really. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will last about 4 to 6 months in the refrigerator. You can not put it in the refrigerator if you want, but it retains its form better if you do. I tend to be the type that I keep it by my sink for a few nights, and then I remember, and then I go run and pop it back into the fridge for a while. So it's got all the oils in it, so it could go bad, but it probably won't. For, you know, it would take a few weeks, depending on if you're inside and if you've got climate control and stuff. It's going to last a lot longer, but that's the recommended time frame for the oils, really. So that's the aloe vera face, and you can also use that for body cream too. It's really good for dry skin. It's really good in the winter. Already check out that aloe vera video. Go ahead, check that out, and we're talking about all about what the aloe vera does and how to harvest it and how to grow it and all of that. So this has been Angie with the aloe vera face and body cream. Thanks for joining us.